Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you, and welcome to our first recording of Pre-Islamic Arabia. In this one, I'm talking about the references and the general political situation in the Arabian Peninsula. But first, I would like to start with a term that you might come across when you look at Islamic history. This term is Jahiliyyah, and this is one spelling. Jahiliyyah means or comes from the root word jahl, which means ignorance. So it's the age of ignorance or the attitude of ignorance. And even Karen Armstrong says that Christian Arabs used to use that term when they talk about the era before Jesus. So this is the Jahiliyyah. Now, what are the sources, the historical sources for that time? That era in the Islamic history. Now, I'm not a historian. I am mostly my background is in science and religious studies, and so history it has many narratives depending on which sources you use, and so I try to get the sources that are more analytical and that are non-biased as much as possible. And so you might agree or disagree with me, and that is definitely up to you. Now, the books that I went to referred to the following sources that they used in order to get knowledge about the pre-Islamic time. Now, they said that there's a lot of writings and inscriptions that are, for example, from the Assyrians or the Babylonians, and these are usually of personal nature, whether they are writing some writings on their houses or buildings, so you read it when you go into the house, or vows, or some commands, laws, or taxes. So from these, historians get some information about that era. Another source is the Jewish and Christian writings, whether they're talking about their relationship with the Arabs at that time, how Jewish people traded or dealt with the Arabs. There are some Jewish writers like Josephus Flavius, and also Christians wrote about how Christianity spread in that part of the world, and so on. There's another source which is also the writings of travelers who are non-Arabs, who travel to the Arab world. So they have their diaries about traveling or describing the geography or the armies that went to the Arab world and what they saw there, what are their descriptions. That's another source. And the final one is basically Arabic and Islamic sources, whether we are talking about pre-Islamic poetry or we are talking about the holy book or the prophetic sayings or the books of, for example, pre-Islamic, the tribes used to write their diaries about their books of war, which tribe they fought, about their kings, about all of these kinds of writings. So these are the sources from which historians go back to find out the conditions of pre-Islamic Arabia. Now, if we talk about the political situation, just a quick look. This is the Arabian Peninsula, and let's talk a little bit about the geography. It's mostly desert. You have green areas, especially here in the southern part of the Arabian Peninsula. It's always been a good fertile area, and this is why a lot of invasions happened in this part of the world. And these Arabs, called the South Arabs, are different than the North Arabs that lived in this part of the world. This is where Islam started, here in Mecca, with the Northern Arabs, where the Prophet, peace be upon him, was born. Now, this area along the coast was more greenish, and there's oases along the line, and this is where, of course, people settle around oases. And then you have all kinds of Bedouins living in the desert area, and they move, they're not settled. And within this geography, we have the two empires at that time, 1500 years ago. We have the Roman Empire, which of course was Christian, And they had proxy Arab tribes here, the Ghazanids. And then we had on the other side here, we had the Sasanian Empire or the Persian Empire. And they also had their proxy tribes along the border. And so that was the political situation around the Arabian Peninsula. In the Arabian Peninsula, as we will talk in the next recordings, the unit there are the tribes. So we had all different, several tribes living across the Arabian Peninsula. And because of, and this is important to realize, the harsh, very harsh environment of living in that part of the world, there was continuous invasions and battle, and the stronger tribes invading the weaker tribes. And so if they're invading a tribe where they have more natural resources, so they invade them, and then they either take them as slaves, or they take the land, the place where these guys are living, and then they kick them out. Or, for example, the weaker country or the weaker tribe will give taxes for the stronger tribe, so that they let them go. And so this was their life. Their life was a continuous battle of fighting. And this is important because if you had time to listen to the collectivist culture, you can understand how that type of culture, the collectivist culture, would really spread well in this part of the world, because you need to belong to a tribe in order to survive. If you don't belong to a tribe, you're mostly gonna die soon, whether it's the conditions or the continuous loyalty fight for land and sources and so on. And so this is all that I'm going to say about the political situation and the references. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you in the next recording. Take care and God bless.